How
Here
are
I
you?
am. Good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Yeah, sorry about not getting putting the replay up last week, and then also not getting in the classroom. We've had a pretty busy week. We've built a couple landing pages, and we're doing things that are far outside of my normal day-to-day capacity. So, yeah, so I'll have Jerry put that up in the classroom tomorrow, and then yeah, and he Jerry's parents' anniversary was on Sunday, so he took Friday off. So uh, Thursday was just a whirlwind of trying to get some stuff done. So yeah, so I
Sure.
complete I actually even on because I was so dug into stuff on Friday, I actually forgot to put do wins for the week on Friday, and I just realized it either yesterday or this morning. I can't remember. So.
It happens. Get busy. It's good.
Y- Yeah, yeah, yeah. There needs I need to have some checks and balances in there when I get a little nutty like that. But overall, it's good. It's progress. The we are doing things now. Um, in our we are doing things now like that last year at this time didn't even really seem possible. So so that's pretty cool. But with a lot of growth, like you gotta crack a bunch of eggs before you can make an omelet, right? So there's lots of eggshells flying around last week. So yeah. So so today I want to kind of dial deeper into minimal effective dosage, and then also talk a little bit about some conversations that I've been having on Facebook and Instagram with folks, and help to for whoever watches this help to dispel some myths about some things that a lot of people get wrong, and I think they get them wrong not be well because they don't update their training, right? So like if you look at if you were to talk to me 20 20 years ago or 25 years ago when I first started practicing, there are things that I would tell you now that I would have thought that I was crazy. Like I would have thought you were crazy 25 years ago if I would have told you X, Y, and Z, the things that I think now, right? Some of the things that I think now. Um, so, as you go along, you have to, a good coach is constantly updating, but not updating just for the mere fact that they're trying to collect certificates and knowledge and information. There has to be a balance between learning a subject and then actually doing the subject yourself, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not just getting the certification and doing it, like or taking the weekend course, you know. I've seen that a lot.
Mhm.
And so, a good coach or a good facilitator, whatever you want to call the person, provider, practitioner, facilitator, coach, whatever it is, teacher, instructor, whatever hat you want to put on, um, really needs to be out into the thing and not settle for status quo, right? Like, and a large part of my thing was I had to try and figure out how to put my knee back together so I could freaking train jujitsu and I could like go be active. And then with my back, I tried all the experts, right? Like I tried them all. I tried chiropractors and massage therapists and core strengthening and all the rest of that stuff. And for whatever reason, for me, it didn't work. It would work for periods of time, but and then I was really frustrated with like I would go to the chiropractor or I'd go to a massage therapist and I'd be like, why is this continuing to happen? Right? Like I'm trying to be a client or a patient now. Like I want to figure this out. Right. Yeah. I was a professional at the time, but like I want to figure out why this is happening to me because nobody else can seem to figure it out. And then, like they would give me some random answer about, you know, the sun's not facing in the south northwest corridor of the horizon of the moon phase or some garbage like that. And I was just like, what are you talking about? So what Ben Patrick said something a little while ago, and I thought it was really good. He said, "There's no such thing as a bad movement, right? Or
Mhm.
there's no bad movements. There's no dangerous movements. The only danger is the speed and the load in which we put the movement into. So like I was having a conversation on Facebook with someone about split squats and them telling me, well, first of all, they called them lunges, first of all.
I
Oh, did you
saw
see that? Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mr. Facebook commenter has been very quiet for the last 9 hours after I showed him my regression and then also Ben Patrick's regressions and how they regressed them. And he called them lunges, by the way, and they're not a lunge.
Right.
A lunge is
right.
when your knee goes to 90 degrees and you go up and down. Split
Right.
squats aren't lunges. Well, then he decided that, and I had a whole the shoulder post that I posted the other day, and this is the funniest thing to me. This is partially my fault. I'm going to take some ownership of this because of the clip of the video that I actually posted. Right, the clip of the video of me doing external rotation. Here was the mistake I made. Although it was good conversation because all of their conversations about how bad my how uh, in control I was of the movement was just because this happened on the external rotation. So I'm here, and it's with 20 pounds, by the way, my external rotation. I know that none of those people could do a 20-pound external rotation. None of them, zero of them, right? So what happened was, as I was coming down, it was towards the end of my set, and my elbow slipped down a little bit.
Oh.
And so when I came back up, I moved my elbow to here.
Oh.
And for some reason, that was misconstrued as like, I wasn't able to control the thing.
Huh.
Now, one thing that does happen to me, and this is a interesting thing, because of how my shoulder was separated. So my shoulder came out. My shoulder, the subluxation was a little bit anterior, right? So most of your shoulder separations happen when you fall on it this way, right? Mine was like this, and the guy was pulling on my arm. And so the head of my humerus was coming out a little bit this way. This is, by the way, the worst shoulder separation you could possibly have. Because if I know a guy at jiu-jitsu that had it happen to him, like, because if you think about like when you have a turkey and you're gonna take the drumstick off the turkey, like all of that action is basically what happens to your shoulder capsule, right? So when the load gets a little heavier, because of my subluxation and because of the dislocation, I have a little bit excess range of motion here that happens. Like I stop here, right? But because of the dislocation, I have a little bit more play there. So maybe they were seeing that. That part of that is my fault. But now, what people don't seem to recognize or realize is that there's no bad motions. There's just bad load. And there's bad speed. Like we in jujitsu, one of my training partners in jujitsu, she said this one day. This is pretty funny. There's what did she say? There's no asshole practitioners. There's only asshole speed, right? So the speed in which you go yanking on people's bodies, you can do something really slow, right, and still finish. Especially when you're in training, like none of us are getting a $3 gold medal for what happens in training, right? So, but the thing that people fail to recognize, and I really feel like this holds people back. Like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, like your finger had to line up perfectly on top of your wrist, on top of your elbow, in order for you to do anything that was maybe a little stressful to your body, right? But what that did is we literally built a generation of fragile people, right? People that aren't strong at end range motions and extreme motions, right? It was very well intended, by the way. I know. I was in that camp. I was in that club. I thought that you had to, have all your ducks in a row. But when you go out into the real world, the ducks don't the ducks don't line up like that, right? So if you're really looking to protect someone, like to make them more resilient. And let's say it's February and you go outside and you slip and fall and you catch yourself. Last time I checked, there's no chance for you to make sure that your finger lines up on top of your wrist and your wrist lines up on top of your elbow. It all just happens, right? Now, I'm not suggesting that we become reckless with how we program that and how we try to progress motion. We want to accept wherever we're at with things, right? So, like case in point for me, I'm coming off that little knee thing that I had a couple of 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and this week I started to mess around on flat ground with my split squat again. But I also did on a 4-inch box where I was doing 5-second pauses with 40 pounds so that my knee would just open up and feel like when I went flat ground, when I went to I went 4 inches, 2 inches, and then flat ground. So when I went to 2 inches, I wanted to see, does that feel good? If that didn't feel good, then I wouldn't have went flat ground, right? So we want to make sure that our progressions are smart and that we're listening to where everybody is at. And also recognizing that people's wants and needs are different for everybody, right? So I want to do front to back splits in my 50s. Why? Because man, how cool would that be to do it in my 50s and not at 15 or 20, right? But that doesn't mean that everybody else should, right? That doesn't mean that you should, Sonia, right? Now, but what that does mean though is when I accomplish that, I'll have went through I'll have went through the fire, and there's pieces of that journey along the way that you can benefit from, right? Now, you may not do the same thing that I do. You may not want the same outcomes. However, there's pieces that we can take and then apply to your training or to your programming, right? And we also have to recognize that, 40 plus, the time frame in which those things happen is going to be longer, right? So we have to be honest with ourselves. So, I'd like to get front to back splits by the time I'm 53, right? But if it takes me to 55, am I going to be really that pissed? Right? Like, not really, because of all of the adaptations and the changes that it takes for me to get there, right? So we need to respect the fact, and this is one of the hardest things that when I talk to people at jiu-jitsu, there's a very work harder mentality in jiu-jitsu, and also it is a Midwestern blue collar thing as well, right? And so what people think that they have to do, or they think that they should do, is they think that they should try to perform like they were 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 40 years ago, whatever their age is. And it is so not in touch with how the body performs as men lose testosterone and as women go through menopause. There are significant hormonal changes that happen, which then change the way that our body responds. And then we just can't push fast as hard as we want it, right? And so we want to be a little bit more patient with that. And until someone actually works with me as a coach, I can tell them up and down, left and right until I'm blue in the face, I'm a hell of a lot more patient than you are. It may not seem that way, but I am, because I know how long it took for me to get back to where I am currently. And so, and I think most of the people that I wind up working with, they don't need someone to push them, because they're all relatively motivated people in their own right. What they need is sometimes they need someone holding them back a little bit. And then they need sometimes like, hey, look, we just got to take this a little slower, right? We'll get there. Give me a year, we'll do amazing things, right? But it won't be in 2 weeks. And here's what I can guarantee you: in that year, you're going to have life happen. Like one of the people one of the people in the collective right now, her grandma passed 3 weeks ago. So like she was in hospice and then she passed, and they had the funeral last week. Her life's been a mess for the last 3 weeks, right? As a compassionate, empathetic coach or person who is helping her along her path here, like I would be a terrible person if I expected anything more out of her than, and then also I would be a terrible coach if I let her get away with beating herself up. Life happens, it's going to happen, right? So yeah, I think that that's an important piece for people to realize, that you've got to be kind to yourself, and also at times you need to kick your own ass a little bit, but by and large majority, like being kind to ourselves and being patient, because the results don't happen overnight, right? They don't happen from, like I tell people in jiu-jitsu, the breakthrough that you happened in class that one day didn't happen because of that class. It happened from the 20 to 50 to 100 hours that you put in up until that point in time, right? That just happened to be, the stars happened to align on that day that you had that breakthrough, right? The environment that you were in gave you that breakthrough, but that happened from the experiences that you had up until that point in time. So, all right, so I've ranted for about 18 minutes. Do you have anything to talk about?
Well, talking about minimal effective dose.
Yep.
So I have been doing the mobility blueprint
Yep.
daily, the
Yep.
5,
Yep.
and I can't begin to tell you how many changes I've noticed in my body. I've got,
Really?
yes, I've got more rotation. My neck feels better.
Really?
My upper back is opening even more than it was.
Fantastic.
And that's just from doing it 5 minutes a day.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes me so happy to hear. You have no idea how happy that makes me to hear.
Oh my gosh. So this because I am somebody who always gets trapped in the more is better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Get injured, and that's exactly what happened when I got that stress fracture. Was I kept piling more stuff on,
Yep.
and something had to give, and something did. And now I've had to, scale back and
Yep.
regroup. And
Yep.
but I'm still doing my barbell training, and I've gotten stronger in the last. Let's see, I'm going on my 4th week with this stress fracture,
Right.
and I've because I don't build in enough recovery a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's and the thing is, you were talking about hormonal changes. Well, as a woman now in postmenopause, it's
Yep.
like my body needs more recovery. It needs a lot more recovery than I think it needs.
Yeah. 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 It's so yeah. I I I notice it in myself, and I notice it in Melissa, because Melissa will be she'll be 40 47 this year. And but she had a pretty big fibroid on her, near one of her ovaries, and so they did a partial on her, and she was starting with perimenopause, probably around. She was starting to notice some things probably around 45. She they took No, probably 44, because I think they took the cyst out when she was 45 or 40. No, probably 45. And so now, and then they did a partial on her. And so she's actually seeing someone, an OB that she used to work with, to go to help her, because she was doing some progesterone. She actually just started to add a low dosage of testosterone in as well.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, you have, I mean, like, as bad as this for men, it's a million times worse for women. Like, because all of the things that keep you guys together, just, they go like, right
Yes.
off a
Yeah.
cliff.
Oh
And,
man.
and it, and it, I, now, I'm not a woman. I've never played one on TV. I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I've been in an industry dominated by women for the last 25 years. So I've been around a lot of women. I have a lot of women that are friends. So I'm empathetic to the plight of it. But it seems to me within the last maybe 5 to 10 years that we're actually starting to have conversation. Well, part of it is because of the HRT thing. They finally got past that, right? So it feels to me like we're starting to have conversations about menopause. Like it's not like this deeply guarded secret that my mom had to deal with, right?
Mhm.
And your generation, my mom's generation, boomers, Gen Xers, like, and obviously longer than that too as well. But they don't have as much. There's not as much. There's more conversation around it now, and again because they finally figured out that there was a lot of other determining factors than the HRT. I remember that whole entire thing. So when that whole Premarin and Prempro thing was going on, I was working at a holistic wellness center back in Michigan, and one of our clients, she actually had a heart attack, and
Oh wow.
they thought it was from the HRT, right?
Yeah.
At the
Right.
time. Now we know it's not.
Mhm.
But she was supposed for an appointment and she didn't come in because she had a heart attack. They had to med flight her down to University of Michigan. Um, but I mean, like, if you were to look at her lifestyle, it wasn't a big. I'm saying this objectively, so it wasn't a big. She was a pretty active person, but she was probably about, I'd say, 65 to 70 pounds overweight,
Mhm.
and was an active person, so she's putting a lot of stress on her heart. And she
Yep.
had a lot of like, she had a lot of stressors in her life too. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, you guys finally started to there's some finally started to have some conversation around the late '90s, early 2000s, and then the whole Prem and Prem show pro thing comes, and then it just sets back women's health, back to the Stone Ages, and now we're finally starting to have some conversations around it, and people are starting to see that, and also like, oh my God, here's another rant that I could go on for another 2 hours because I see it all the time. Um, there's a million reasons that I'm very glad that I'm a man. Um, One of the biggest reasons is the absolute cluster of circumstances that women have to deal with women's health in the medical profession. I mean, it is so objectively horrific, you
Mhm.
know? I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
it's so yeah, the fact that we, as we get older, we need to recover more, we need to allow more time for recovery. And then also like think about the consistency thing is the real big important thing. And that's
Yep.
part of recovery, right?
Yeah.
But what will happen is that if you'll get to a certain point in time where when your body you'll reach a resiliency level, and whatever that resiliency level is for the person at the time, where they can start to take more risks again with their body because they've spent the time to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, right?
Mhm.
And so then you can have these little windows of like, oh, I can be a little bit crazier than I would normally be, and you know you don't really pay for it the way that you would, if you hadn't spent that time. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news for everybody, but that time that isn't like 6 months like when you were 18. you know, it's more like 3 to 5 years. You know, um, but that 3 to 5 years, the change that happens in that time is can be pretty profound. I mean, it can be, this sounds so cliche when I say it, but it can be life changing because now you're stacking all these wins on top of each other and helping and becoming more resilient and capable, which is only going to, pay forward later on down the road. So like for you, that 5 minute mobility session every day, the improvements that you're making in your range of motion, in your overall mobility and your capacity to move, so long as you couple them with eventually some form of loaded progression, then you can really start to build and capitalize on that thing. Um, and that's the thing that people miss when they look at that's what I missed, to be honest. When I started looking at knees over toes, when I started looking at bench stuff in 2020, 2021 on Instagram, I'm like, dude, this guy, right? There's no way anybody can do that, all those things, right? And now I'm like, no, there is. The problem is that there was no methodology. Well, there was. It wasn't out there for everybody to see. And the the fitness, the fitness, the waves that he made in the fitness industry, and that we all that choose to kind of go down the path, like are being pulled behind in his wake, right? Has opened up. It's opened up like so many avenues for people because they're getting back into that. They're seeing that, oh wow, you can do stuff like this and there is some benefit to it. And then we're also kind of like coupling into this place of, again, theory meets science, right? They're kind of meeting together some, um, which is why, to be fair, a lot of those people are talking about things, like, oh well, it was so funny, that home skillet on Facebook. He said, well, they don't have enough strength. Well, yeah, no shit, they don't have enough strength. I'm nowhere in the post that I suggest that this is what people should be doing. As a matter of fact, number 2 was scalability,
Right.
right? So, but to go back to that, you develop the capability and the capacity when you start to go beyond what you thought was possible, right? I seriously, when I started doing split squats, standards is, in ATG, standards is you hit the standard at half your body weight. I didn't ever know if I was going to be able to do that, right? I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to half my body weight, flat ground split squat, feet heel flat for reps, right? I did it last fall for 3 sets of 8 and 95 pounds, but I didn't know that I could do that in the beginning, you know?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I mean, the we have so much more possibility than what we know, and then also what the uh, the industry is willing to let us accept. You know,
Mhm.
so yeah, I could put my tinfoil hat on about that and run down another rabbit hole of ranty, uh, for another 45 minutes, but I won't do that to you. So, these are the conversations that Marcia misses. She misses the. I used to come into the studio often, like for whatever reason, all tuned up, and she'd be like, "Oh, I don't have a client. Let's hear, let's hear." Yeah, she would,
We're
you
doing
know,
that.
yeah, yeah. Or she'd be like,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, yeah. So, yeah, I saw her last Monday. I saw her. I made that ham. So yeah, so I'll tell you what I do with the ham because I forgot to post the recipe. I'll post the recipe in that post.
Yeah.
But so I made that ham. So I put it on my smoker, but you can do it in the oven. I put it on my smoker at 220. I put it on 220. Yeah, 250, I think. And then I put it on overnight and just let it go, right? And then now it was an 8-pound ham. Why I bought 8 pounds for 3 people, I have no idea. However, that's a whole other situation. Uh, so what the recipe called for, and I didn't do this because I didn't think my 8 pound ham. I probably should have had it at 220 because I had it at 250. My 8 pound ham was at 190 when I woke up, and you're going to pull it somewhere between 190 and 205 is the temp that you pull meat, somewhere in between those in that gap there, depending on the cut of meat. Well, I woke up and I'm like, oh man, I'm already at 190. I was thinking I was going to be at like 165 or 170. So then what I did is I made a glaze of orange juice, brown sugar, butter, and bourbon, and then like a cherry jam or cherry preserve. So I made that glaze, and then I put my ham in there, um, and I let it just kind of hang out there for a little while because uh, it was ready to pull and eat, but I wasn't ready for it to be pulled and eaten yet. So I turned down my stove. I actually put it in the house. I turned down my stove to like 190 just so it stayed at temp. So I didn't have to bring it back up again. And I just let it sit in the glaze. And then I turned it up to 365 and brought it up to about 205. But about every half hour, I would take it, I would baste it with the glaze, and then it pulled really well. I've got a ton of pulled shoulder, pulled pork. I might like the pulled ham better than I like the pulled pork. So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, it was really good. But anyways, I had, let's say 6.5 to 7 pounds of meat when I took the bone out because it was a bone-in ham. And I'm sitting there on Easter and I'm like, what am I going to do with all this freaking ham? Yeah, I can freeze some of it, but like, what am I going to do with it? There's a lot of ham still left. And Marcia texted me on Easter, and I was like, oh, hey, do you guys want some pulled ham? Because I get a bunch of it. So I ran it over to her on Monday, and we chatted for a bit. And then I saw Julie Berg. Julie was there for a second as well as I
Oh,
was
okay.
leaving. Yeah, so it was kind of a cool. It was kind of a cool little reunion. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, neat.
that was fun. So, but that ham was really good. We're gonna go home for my father-in-law turned 90 in February, and so we're having his 90th birthday party because they go down to Texas for like 6 months during the winter. So we're gonna have their birthday party in at the end of April, early May, in a couple weeks. So I think there's gonna be about 75 to 80 people, and I'm making stuff. So I'm gonna make some pulled ham again. I'll grab a couple shoulders from Costco, and I'll grab a ham, and then I'll make some chicken thighs because you can do that really easy. Um, so so yeah, I would do the ham again though. It was really good. So I'll share the recipe with you in the
Yeah.
on school. Yeah, it was really good though.
Okay. Good. Good.
Yeah.
I had one more thing I wanted to ask, if you have a second.
Yeah.
Um, Elephant walk. Could you just do a quick demo with verbal cues?
Yep.
Because I started doing those.
Yep. So uh, you want to find a height to where you can kind of get palms flat,
Yep.
and then you straighten the knee, and then your heel comes up.
Oh, you okay? Your heel
Yeah.
does come up then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the tricks to it is, uh, like, let's pretend you get to a place where you kind of at a sticking point. If you hold the isometric, or if you kind of just flex your quad back in that place, so like I'm a little cold, so right here would be it for me for 5 seconds,
Okay.
right? That'll help to open that up a little bit more because some of what I like about the elephant walk is that it's a big, it's a big nerve stretch. When you get to your end range, it's a big nerve stretch.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It
Okay.
it it that it took me a while to get to where like I still don't have my hands flat on the floor.
Okay.
But I can get to fingertips on the floor now. Um, yeah, my hamstrings. Oh my god! When I used to do RDLs. Oh my god, my hamstrings would be so sore the next day, like so incredibly sore. Oh man, it was pretty intense, and I wasn't even doing that heavy. I like in the beginning, it was like 20 pounds for reps,
Right.
and oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
see, I have the opposite issue. I don't have any trouble getting to the floor.
yeah,
I have trouble engaging the quad.
yeah, 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 yeah. That would be interesting. You'd have trouble engaging the quad. If
Because
if
I just push my knee back, you
Oh
know?
yeah, because you have a little bit of the hypermobility that you're able to do that, huh? Yeah. Yeah, Melissa has the same problem as well. I
Okay.
was I was trying to talk to her. What was I talking to her about? Oh, back extensions. And we were talking about like, where to stop at. And she's like,
Yeah.
I don't know where to stop. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know where to stop?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When she did an ADS test, she was like, I don't know, two percentage points or whatever the hell it was away from it, you
Oh,
know?
really? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah. Yeah. Honestly, if I was you,
Hmm.
if you don't have a hard time like with the elephant walk, you can get your hands to the floor. I might
Yeah.
start looking at some Jefferson curls.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because you're not really like the elephant walk is really to try and open up the hamstring more and open up the low back. And if you
Well,
have that already down,
I need to get the low back to open that, because I'm tight in my low back. So I just need
yeah,
to, yeah, get that.
yeah. Or I would do a lot of. I would start to work on back extensions, but really getting down into the bottom range of the back extension.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
and then single leg back extensions. Those are fun.
right. Ugh, I'll wait.
Yeah, but start them out with isometric holds.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Which is
Cool, cool.
why my neck feels good because the neck extensions
Yeah.
are really,
And you want to eventually you're going to want to start to work on you know I have it on the mobility where you're just on the floor.
yep.
I'd start hanging off the end of a bench and kind of letting your head go down into that range or off your bed,
Okay. All
so you
right.
can start to build that strength out of flexion.
Okay.
Yep,
All right.
yep. All
All
right.
right.
Cool,
Good.
cool. Well, Sonia, I appreciate you listening to 20 minutes of my rant, um, like always. So yeah, I will chat with you next week.
All right. Sounds good.
All
Thanks,
right,
Sean.
thanks. Yep, have a good one. Bye.
You too.